Samuel Omorodion to Chelsea is off, despite here we go from Fabrizio Romano. He's in London, his medical was booked and everything. It looked set for a deal. Chelsea have been wanting him for a long time. Finally agreed the deal with Atletico Madrid, with Conor Gallagher going the other way for a separate deal. The deal is now off according to multiple reports, including Fabrizio Romano himself. And in this video, we're going to update you on all the latest news, although you probably already know, and then convince you why this is good. We got stats, we got potential lineups, we've got everything going on in this video. So do like the video, subscribe if you are new, and comment your thoughts on him. Everyone was a little bit mixed on Omorodion, but we ended up convincing ourselves that it was a good deal, I think, in the end, because it looked so close. And now it's off. Are you happy? Are you relieved? I'll give my thoughts at the end or later on, but comment your thoughts. I'll reply to every single one. Let's comment on each other's. See what everyone else is thinking, and then reply to that, as long as it's respectful and Chelsea-based. But let's get into it. So last night, all the news was popping off. Samuel Omorodion, something to do with a contract. That's all we got told. Contract had changed by Chelsea. And the Samuel Omorodion deal was off. He was apparently devastated. He really wanted to move. And it didn't make too much sense, because Chelsea had been interested in him for a long, long time. Finally seemed to get their man. And it was all pretty much wrapped up. But Chelsea changed the contract. Now, this can only mean one thing. They decided that actually they'd rather not get him, because maybe something came up in the market. Now, I'm speculating, but we've been linked to Victor Osimhen. This transfer battle, this saga for Osimhen to Chelsea, Lukaku to Napoli has been going on all summer, and it kind of feels like it will eventually just happen. One will go one way, the other will go the other way. But there were reports saying that Chelsea wanted Omorodion and Osimhen, potentially with the aim to loan out either Mark Yu or even Omorodion as soon as he gets here. And then as soon as that came out yesterday, the potential to loan out Omorodion, it didn't make too much sense, because if we're spending £35 million on a striker, which is a position that Chelsea have needed for a long time, even if he is 20 years old, even if he is unproven and raw, surely we just have him in the first team, in and around the first team at least, not to loan him out. So that was already sort of like warning flags. But now the deal is off, and the latest news is that Chelsea are potentially focusing on Victor Osimhen. But we want him on a loan still. We want him on a loan, and favourable wage demands, favourable everything for Chelsea, because we know that Napoli want Lukaku so bad. They're planning for Lukaku to join them, even though he's our player, and they're planning without Osimhen, even though he's their player. Chelsea have the upper ground in that deal, in that saga, and it does make sense why we'd potentially cancel the Omorodion deal if there was a breakthrough in negotiations for Osimhen to Chelsea. So, first of all, it didn't make too much sense. We want Osimhen and Omorodion, but if Osimhen, obviously everyone would agree that if you could choose one, it would be Osimhen, and especially if it's on a loan or favourable conditions, whatever. Having Osimhen at Chelsea would be incredible. He would score goals, which is what we need. But the other thing is the complicated saga, this Conor Gallagher Omorodion deal. I'll break it down for you. Atletico Madrid wanted Conor Gallagher. Chelsea wanted him to go. But what we saw with Aston Villa, where we sold Ian Maatsen to them, but we got a Murray Kellyman, it basically helps out both teams financially. So I think what's happened is Chelsea were like, we'll sell you Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid as long as we can buy one of your players. We both inflate the price a little bit. You pay what we want. We pay what you want for one of your players. And then we're both happy. We're getting financial profit from Conor Gallagher. You're getting, homegrown pure profit from Omorodion. And everyone's happy. We want Omorodion. You want Gallagher. It all worked out. Then, because they were selling Omorodion, they needed a new striker, a replacement. So they went out and signed Julian Alvarez from Man City, a great signing. Although it is a lot of money, he's a great player, and they want him at Atletico. Now the Osimhen breakthrough potentially happened for Chelsea. We've cancelled Omorodion. We don't want him anymore. And Atletico well, we really want Alvarez, and we really want Alvarez, who's going to be a striker. So we need to offload a striker somehow. and Chelsea are like, well, we still want one of your players because that was the deal. You get Gallagher, we'll sign one of your players. Who else is there? An attacker, a striker that you want to get rid of, but we'd be happy to sign. There's only one man, Joao Felix. He's already been on loan for 6 months to Chelsea. He didn't struggle. Struggle is not the right word. He was, if anything, one of the most... I've been saying this, despite any of this happening, I always look on Joao Felix as a successful move. Maybe he didn't get us results, maybe he didn't get us loads of goals and stuff. I think he got 4 goals in the end, something like that in 16 appearances. But it was under Graham Potter, which just never worked. It was in that huge bloated squad with millions of players. You couldn't train properly, you couldn't get in the dressing room properly, you had to get your boots on outside. And he just got dropped into this massive team that were failing in the January transfer window on loan because he just wanted out of Atletico Madrid. But he still managed to somehow impress me. His ball carrying is incredible. Without any... There was no time to like acclimatise to the Premier League. He just got dropped in. He got a red card against West Ham. I don't really care about that. It means he was getting stuck in. You could tell so easily that he was trying so hard to impress. He apparently really liked London. He liked living in London. He was posting London all the time. He always said Chelsea in his caption for a long time on Instagram. And he wanted to stay at Chelsea. But the reason we didn't sign him on, even though the Paul with Stanley and... Actually, I don't know if they were there at that point, but even if the hierarchy did want to get Joao Felix permanently, it was Mauricio Pochettino said that he didn't want him, which doesn't make too much sense. But now we don't care about Mauricio Pochettino. We don't like him because, I mean, I was never convinced on him, but I was always going to support the Chelsea manager. But that's a video for another day. Now that we don't have Mauricio Pochettino and we have Enzo Maresca instead, the option to sign Joao Felix permanently is back on. So we're going to look at his profile quickly, why this could make sense. First of all, it's assuming that if Omorodion collapsed, we're signing a striker, and that striker is hopefully Osimhen. So imagine Omorodion is off, but we sign Osimhen. I've got a lineup maker at the end with all of these players, how they could work, how they could fit together in the same system. So imagine we sign Osimhen. We need to sign an Atletico Madrid player, probably an attacker because they want to sign Alvarez still. Joao Felix is the man, unless we... I don't even know what any other attackers from Atletico Madrid. Because they've sold Morata, but they've signed Sorloth. Unless they cancelled the Sorloth deal, I don't understand. But going on to his FB ref, these are his stats. Something very interesting about his wages. So look at this green. Non-penalty goals per 90, 95th percentile. This is for playing for a broken Barcelona or a Brocolona. I think they finished second in the end in Barcelona. But the whole Xavi management thing last season didn't happen. He was utilised as a sub pretty often. Non-penalty XG, he's in the 99th percentile. Shots total, 96th percentile. Assists, not so great, but non-penalty expected goals, he's basically really high. He gets in great opportunities, great shooting chances, and although maybe his actual goal tally, he got 10 goals in 1,800 minutes. That's a goal every 180 minutes, goal every other game. That is class. And then 4 assists on top of that. He performed. I guess he kind of went under the radar, you could say. I mean, it is Joao Felix. We're going to speak about his potential in a minute. But his pass completion, that's all right for Enzo Maresca's system. Progressive passes could work on that, but his touches and his progressive passes received, he's just going to light up the Premier League in and around the box. He will do the little flicks. He will do the little skills, receive 1-2s, just open up and unlock low blocks, which is what we kind of need to do, because that's how teams operate against Chelsea. Just low block. Players just get behind the ball. Chelsea can't break it down. That's what happened last season. I was looking at the wages. Look at this. So obviously Chelsea don't pay high wages anymore. Look at these wages. So Atletico Madrid very quickly, I'll switch back. Atletico Madrid paid 128 million euros for Joao Felix when he was 19 years old from Benfica. He scored 20 goals in his debut season in Benfica. If you haven't already, and if you're maybe not convinced on Joao Felix, go and watch his highlight reel from when he was at Benfica. Just look up Joao Felix Benfica highlights. This man, I mean, I haven't even watched any of them, but I know how, I've watched one a long time ago. He was so highly rated, and they paid that much money for a reason. Because he was so good, they thought that he could be the next, I don't know, but he was 19, but had so much potential. Scored 20 goals in the Portuguese league, which is not an easy league, even though Darwin Núñez has done it as well, and he's not really translated in the Premier League. But so if we go back to his wages, they're paying 280,000 euros a week for the first 3 seasons. Then he didn't really impress that much. Went to Chelsea. Chelsea paid 200k a week, basically, 200,000 or 195,000 pounds per week to Joao Felix for the second half of the season, which I thought was interesting. But that is a pay cut, because originally it was 243,000 pounds a week. So we dropped down about 50k a week to come to Chelsea. And then last season, he was so desperate to play football away from Atletico Madrid that he basically divided his wages by 10 to play for Barcelona. Barcelona paid him 7,000 euros a week, which for a footballer, especially playing for one of the best teams in the world, is peanuts. And then Atletico Madrid still to pay 28k a week, but they're probably 24,000 euros. So he was getting 30k a week basically last season, 30,000 pounds per week. Joao Felix, who was once originally getting 240,000 pounds per week when he was 19. So he will drop his wages. He's apparently, the latest rumours, I'll switch back once again. Hopefully this whole system of switching back, I'm going to hopefully get one of them button things that just switch easily. I'm going to try and get that sorted. As if you view the video, give me some money please. I'm very close to getting paid from this, and then I'll hopefully buy one of them. But oh fuck, what was I saying? I've forgotten what I was going to say now. He's already agreed personal terms with Chelsea. His agent is Jorge Mendes, the Portuguese what they call him, the super agent. He was Pedro Neto's agent. He's Cristiano Ronaldo's agent. We've Todd Bowley has wined and dined him before, got him, softened him up. Agreed a deal for Pedro Neto in the last few days, or the sporting directors did, and that is an exciting signing in itself. Another thing, Joao Felix is 24 years old. Actually, let me first, he's agreed personal terms with Chelsea. He's agreed wages and everything. I doubt we probably pay him more than this 30k a week. And this is on a permanent deal, by the way. Permanent deal. God, this is going to be a long video. I'm going to try and cut it down as much as I can. Oh my goodness, I need to get some notes going because my brain is scrambled. There's so much to talk about Joao Felix. Okay, so if we go back to this, he is 24 years old. Pedro Neto is also 24 years old. They're both Portuguese. They both played in the Portugal national team. I think Felix has played, if we go to his transfer market, he's played 41 games for Portugal, and he's only 24. Wow. Pedro Neto has played 10 games, we saw the other day. If you haven't already, check out my Pedro Neto video. It's my last upload. So they all know each other. They'll both be talking. Pedro Neto's already here. He'll be like, João, come and join me at Chelsea. Renato Vega's in there. He hasn't played for Portuguese international team. We've got Diego Moreira, who's obviously a busybody. He gets talking to everyone. And they all speak Portuguese. Joao Felix also speaks Spanish, obviously. So does Enzo Maresca. There's a few Spanish speakers in the team. We've got Mark Cucurella. Any other Portuguese speakers? Spanish speakers? I don't think so. But anyway, Felix has great English anyway. We know that already. He has great English from his, I don't know. He's just learned it in his life. So yeah, look at this. So we're going to see where he fits in. I want to state though, Felix should not be a priority for Chelsea. Getting in a striker, Osimhen should be the priority. And then I still think a centre-back. We're going to look at depth in a second. Yeah, is there anything else we need to see here? This is at 128 million euros to Atletico Madrid, but still, that was overpaying. He is definitely, looking back, that was a bad move. But he was still worth 70 million euros at the time, and his highest value ever was 100 million euros when he was 19 when he joined. So he's such a good player, clearly. He has potential, and playing for a great team like Chelsea, like a successful Chelsea, could really unlock the best out of him. Playing with great players around him, being given game time. Now, the elephant in the room, look at this, 30 million euros is his current price tag. Atletico Madrid are apparently willing to agree a deal for 50 million euros, which is about 42 million pounds. If Chelsea can negotiate that down to maybe 36 million pounds, I think both parties will be happy. They want Felix off the books. He doesn't really want to be there. I mean, he has been playing in pre-season, but he kind of wants to go. Diego Simeone doesn't really, he's not a huge fan of him. They're getting Alvarez, they're getting Sorloth, especially if they keep Omorodion. They've got enough attacking options. They just kind of want Felix off the book, or Félix. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. So 50 million euros, or maybe if we get down to 45 million euros, it's still a lot more than this 30 million euro transfer value. But he's 24 years old. You can still see that you can still see last year, if check out his Barcelona highlights, he was still making great runs. He scored a good amount of goals. He's still a top class player. You can see, and he's 24. So in 3-4 years time, he could really elevate to the heights as long as he's comfortable living in London. I can see it happening. Playing with the likes of Osimhen, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, Christopher Nkunku, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Lavia, some great players around him. He could really live up to the expectation that once, when he was 19, when Atletico paid that much money for him, I think he really could live up to that height. And maybe there was too much hype around him at a young age. It was a weird move to Atletico because they play sort of like deep line, get behind the ball, Brexit ball, even though it's Spanish. And that's why it would suit Conor Gallagher. Just a lot of running around. I think in a team under Enzo Maresca, we're going to get onto my lineup here. I'll quickly move back. In a team under Enzo Maresca that keep the ball a lot, try and do flicks, 1-2s and stuff, passing it around, quick passing, and then a finisher of chances in Osimhen or Nkunku or Joao Felix, we're going to basically be Man City 2.0. Because you look at their attacking option, they got a great finisher in chances, Erling Haaland, and they always have Aguero. Who was their striker between Aguero and Haaland? Actually, my mind's gone blank. Maybe there wasn't anyone. I don't know. They've got some great wingers. They've always had Sterling, Grealish, Doku, Foden. We've got our own Foden, Palmer. We've got our own Sterling. We've got our own Grealish, Neto. And then their attacking players, they did have Alvarez, De Bruyne. Foden again can play that. Imagine we'll move on to this. So we have Sanchez at the back. We build with our three sort of defenders, our three centre-backs, Colwill, Fofana, Kikero, and we'll talk about the defence in a second. And then the midfield, this is the shape that Chelsea played against Inter Milan. It was a sort of diamond where Gusto started as a right-back, but inverted into not the same midfield role as Enzo Maresca was doing at Leicester last season. But Lavia was the base of the diamond, and it had Enzo as a sort of left centre mid and Gusto as the right centre mid, with Kieran Dewsbury-Hall as the tip, as a sort of a number 10. And I think Enzo Maresca realises that he has Nkunku in his team. Who is one of the best sort of attacking number 10s in the world on his day. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall could do that role, or he could do one of these because he's just going to run. Then we have Palmer on the right-hand side, although he could do this role so easily as well. This is our first choice 11, by the way. Pedro Neto, and all of these players, apart from Osimhen, are confirmed to play for Chelsea. Neto, that left-hand side could be dirty with Pedro Neto in there, and Nkunku cutting in maybe, Palmer coming inside, Gusto can provide the width, and then you've got Nkunku and Palmer together up there. We'll put Palmer back on the right, Gusto back in the field, Pedro Neto, and then finisher of chances, Victor Osimhen. By the way, this is assuming, like I said, we sign Victor Osimhen. Where does Joao Felix fit? Well, I'll show you where he fits. He can either be left wing. We could put Felix here in capital letters. He could be a left winger. He could also do this role where I think he'd probably fit best, the Nkunku role, the number 10 role. And I appreciate we're not going to have two Felixes on the pitch at once, but he is that good, so you never know. I think this role, because we're going to have a lot of games this season, we have the back three, we have the base in midfield, Lavia can play there, Caicedo can play there, even Enzo could play there. You've got Gusto inverting, you could switch it around, so Reece James is this one, comes into the back three here, and then Cucurella comes into the midfield instead, because he can invert, or Reece James can invert, really. And then we have that sort of shape, and then this is Reece James. And then Felix is that tip of the diamond. We know Nkunku's sort of injury prone. These two could really they could provide a competition for each other, so elevate each other's games, and they could also sort of rotate for injury problems. Palmer can play that role as well. And then you've got Noni Madueke, who's arguably been our best player in pre-season on the right-hand side. We could have Pedro Neto, Mudryk, Sterling, or Felix. And I do appreciate you can't just say Mudryk's our fourth choice, great depth, because he's not going to want to be a fourth choice. He's going to want to play football. But providing competition will bring the best out of each other. I think the longer we have Mudryk here, the better he's going to get. He's just going to be more comfortable, more confident in himself, because you can see I'm back in Mudryk. People don't, but I'm back in Mudryk. Anyway, this has been a stupidly long video. I do apologise. We'll move back. Please do like and subscribe. Hopefully I'm going to get a little bit more money from this YouTube thing, and then I'm going to get a little bit better production. But do comment your thoughts on this Omorodion deal. Are you sad it's cancelled? Are you happy? Because it probably means another striker. Hopefully Victor Osimhen. And I do think Joao Felix could elevate this team, even though he shouldn't be a priority. Joao Felix should not be a priority for Chelsea. I'm not going to complain. And I do think that we could sneakily get the Joao Felix everyone thought that Atletico Madrid were getting back in the day, when they signed him for 127 million euros, for a cut price of 40 million euros or even less. So thank you very much for watching, and good